If titties and butts were candy and nuts.
We'd all have a Merry Christmas.
Welcome to SinCast, presented by Cinemasins.
This episode of SinCast is brought to you by Mubi, a curated online cinema streaming exceptional films from around the globe. Each day, Mubi introduces a new gem and you have 1 month to watch it. From cult classics to acclaimed masterpieces, every film is hand-selected by experts. Go to Mubi.com/Cinemasins for your special offer. All right, everybody, welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from Cinemasins, joined as always by the voice of Cinemasins, Jeremy Scott.
Hello.
And from Music Video Sins, Barrett Sher.
Bonjour.
Ooh,
Yes.
We were talking about French movie earlier. So
Later.
Later.
Yeah, because we totally don't do that before.
You fucked it up, Barrett.
We are going to go back on our road trip into space.
Shotgun.
Space, the final frontier.
Space, says the introduction to the Hitchhiker's Guide, is big. Really big.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
We're going to go into space.
Okay, yes.
We cut off at the I's last time, so we're going to do the J. We're going to start with the J's today.
J?
And it starts off with something awesome. Jason X.
Have you seen Jason X?
I have. This is a notable movie that Jonathan and I saw back in 2002. Because there was a period of time there where I was jobless, and I would go over to his apartment on Saturdays, and we'd watch watch movies and stuff. And Jason X was the one we went to, and holy shit, is that movie bad?
Have you seen this?
Okay, yes. I was working at a theater when this came out. I built a print of this. I watched it. I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything except that they went to space.
Yeah.
They went to space. They bring him.
They bring him. I'm trying to remember if they bring him or find him on this ship. I think they bring him.
I think they bring him because he's got like regeneration cellular stuff.
I think that's what they're studying.
Yeah,
and then,
and then they do the sex, and then he gets pissed off.
They do the sex? I don't remember the sex.
You remember the sex?
Well, I remember the scene where they go into the virtual reality thing, and it's the old Camp Crystal Lake.
Oh,
right.
And,
Yeah.
And the two naked girls are like, "We love premarital sex," and he tries to kill them, but they're VR, so he can't do it. But it's their way of distracting Jason later in the movie.
Yeah.
But I don't remember an actual sex scene.
Yeah, there's the two of the astronauts get together. Well, it's way into the future. They've flashed forward like 400 years or something like that, and they're in this deep space mission, and they brought him along, and because it's a long mission, they do the sex.
I will say
he doesn't like it.
There's an actress in here that I've remembered her name strictly because of how fucking attractive she is. Her name's Lexa Doig. And I remember like I don't have any interest in watching this as a Jason movie. I'm not a big Friday the 13th person. But I will watch this because this girl is so hot in it. But the movie is awful.
It really is. It's awful.
Yeah,
I like that. I mean, I think that virtual reality thing back to Camp Crystal Lake is a really cool idea that totally steals from Star Trek: The Next Generation's holodeck.
I know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it is. It's the holodeck, but it's
still used in a cool way. I think.
It's used in a cool way. It's still that, but it's that the idea there was just to have a little. But if the whole movie could have been sort of like knowing about that type of stuff, then it might have been fun. But it's just another slasher. It's an alien movie with Jason instead.
Yep.
Yeah.
So no, not worth your time.
Okay.
Another great movie called Jupiter Ascending right after that.
Oh, the bees.
Yeah.
If the bees like you, you are the chosen Kunis.
Of all the coons, of all the kunai.
Yeah.
Do you like this movie?
No, fuck no, man.
Well, this is an awful movie.
This has a cult. No, I agree.
Yeah.
But I think it's got a cult following.
It does.
Probably just because of the Wachowskis and all of their movies have cult
It has a cult following, like... in the way that my shoe has a cult following.
Worship the shoe, the sandal.
This movie was awful, I thought.
Yeah,
Now,
I
I did not see Valerian, but I have an inkling that one might be worse.
Well, that's Luc Besson.
I know,
Okay.
but they're both ginormous, weird space operas that made no money and cost a lot.
I think Valerian, which we'll talk about later on, I think that's the worst movie. This is at least a curiosity because of Eddie Redmayne's performance.
Man, Eddie Redmayne, this is his pre-Newt Scamander performance, but like dialed down from the Newt Scamander.
Dialed down and then back up.
Yeah. But yeah, it's what is it? It's these Eddie Redmayne's a part of this race of people who can perpetually get young.
Yep.
They go into these little baths and there's like this what is it? There's some sort of product that they have to keep getting to use it. So they have like stores of it. I don't remember much about this movie other than just like, Mila Kunis is the chosen Kunis.
Yes, she is.
She is.
And the bees.
Yeah, and the bees
She's,
like her.
She's like a maid.
Yes,
Yeah.
and the story that they tell at the beginning is not her story, but it's the same. I think Mila Kunis actually is an immigrant from Russia.
She is indeed.
And who had to learn the language just by like watching television and stuff like that. But yeah, obviously the actual story of her coming over, not the same, but it's got parallels to it. And then there's Channing Tatum.
Blonde Channing Tatum. Who comes in on a, I don't know, flying roller skate thing. He's like
Does he have wolf ears?
Airbending goat boy.
Yeah.
He's got super skates.
Yeah, the super skates.
And I know they blow the fuck out of Chicago, and then they like yada yada it with, oh well, our technology will make everyone forget what they saw.
Yeah, we'll piece all this together it's the biggest yada yada because it makes it seem like everybody just gets taken care of. Everybody in Chicago gets taken care of. And they didn't see the news that morning, and there's not recordings of the news that
no
morning.
Recordings.
And all these things. But yeah, they're like, I think she's like, oh, well, what about all that damage in the city? And Channing Tatum's like, oh, don't worry about that. And as soon as they turn around, it's the Sears Tower, the Willis Tower is getting built back up.
Yep. I remember it looked really good.
It does.
Most of the Wachowski stuff looks really good.
Is this their most recent feature movie?
I think so.
Yeah, because then they did that Sense8 show for Netflix for a couple years.
Well, this is 2015, so it seems like it's been out for longer, but it got delayed a bunch, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
But
I think it was supposed to come out the previous year, something like that.
What did they do between Speed Racer and this? Did they do any
Cloud
features?
Atlas.
Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about Cloud Atlas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really, since The Matrix, which came after Bound, which Bound is really good.
Yeah.
Like they've just
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened to them. I don't know because it feels almost like after The Matrix they became Lucas-like in that nobody could tell them no after that.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't anybody to just kind of say, hey, some of these ideas that you're coming up with are kind of shitty. Let's kind of shape them a little bit more. There are people who love Speed Racer though.
Yep.
That definitely has a cult following.
Emil Hirsch is one of them, probably.
Yeah, Emil Hirsch is probably one of them. John Goodman.
I've heard it's almost like the prevailing opinion is that Speed Racer is this gem that was unfairly derided. I've gone back and watched that movie. That movie's awful.
It's not. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just noise.
Yeah,
and Cloud Atlas definitely has a cult following because it's just one of those type of movies. But I've never been able to decipher it. Yeah.
Me neither. I've seen that thing. I stopped, but I watched that thing 3 or 4 times after it came out, trying to get it because I wanted to. There's enough in there that I wanted to, but I didn't.
There was a guy at the theater who swore up and down that Cloud Atlas would get the same following that Blade Runner got.
Wow.
It may eventually.
Eventually. I don't know when it took how long it took Blade Runner. But I feel like I've been hearing about Blade Runner forever.
Yeah.
But who knows? Cloud Atlas might get that kind of thing. But another one that's not good. John Carter, right out of that. Who is it? Was this Andrew Stanton?
Mm-hmm.
you always get excited about these Pixar guys, especially the way Brad Bird went to features. I mean, to non-animated features. But this is a book. It was John Carter of Mars. That a lot of the stuff that's in that book and then translated to screen, we'd already seen in Star Wars. Even though the book had predated Star Wars, by the time the John Carter movie comes out, we've seen this so many times. The way these things play out and everything, and John Carter's just it's dull and. I can't even remember much about this movie.
But I don't remember a whole lot about the plot. But the total cost to make this movie was $350 million.
Well, that's the reason why it's considered one of those like all timers, right? Because this was supposed to be a big, huge launching pad for Taylor Kitsch.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be this big tent pole. Like there
were a bunch of books.
Yeah.
In that, because I think one of them. I think the original book is Princess of Mars.
Yeah,
and then John Carter of Mars
right.
is like the second one.
Oh, okay.
And of course, they dumbed down the title so where nobody would even have any clue what it was.
I'll never understand this too. I think they called this John Carter of Mars forever, and then finally decided that it was stupid and took off the of Mars. But now you have what is just a basic common name as your title.
Yeah,
you might as well call this Bob Smith,
Bill Johnson.
Yeah.
Without the of Mars, there's no pizzazz.
Yeah.
You could take off the name and just leave of Mars, and it would be a better title.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Yeah,
but I can't remember. There's like all these like transports on Earth or something, like some sort of like like he's in a cave at one point. I guess I don't know where it is.
He goes from Arizona.
It's a port key.
Yeah, he goes from like the Old West, basically.
Yeah, and then
transported to Mars.
Gets transported to Mars, and then he finds out that he's got like more abilities on Mars. He can jump up really high, and all that. And then he runs into this race of aliens that don't take too kindly to him.
Is this a terrible movie? Or is it just average?
It's just exceedingly average.
And especially relative to how much the production that was put into it, right?
Yeah. And with the talent involved, you look at somebody like Stanton who's done great stuff with Pixar, you're like expecting more. And especially how Bird went to Mission Impossible and all that. Mm-hmm. You just thought, okay, this is the next step. But man, that movie, it's just very average stuff we've seen before. We've seen it all over and over again. Nothing new.
Yeah.
So, a movie that I know I saw as a kid a whole bunch, and I now cannot remember one thing about is Krull. I believe Liam Neeson's is in this.
Yes. This is like one of his first roles.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe close to one of his first roles.
Is Krull a race or is it a weapon?
It's a planet.
It's a planet.
Yes.
Is it in relation to the Kree? The Kree? The
Skrull? It's definitely
Krull.
Distant relative.
I think it is.
It's one of those fascist government needs to be overthrown type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they do battle.
Is it a human that comes to save the day, or is it all aliens?
No, it's a human. It's a human group of people, I think.
Yeah, because I don't want any other planets having harmony if we didn't have something to do with it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This movie also, for the time, was super, super expensive.
Yeah?
It was like $30 million or something like that in 1983.
Wow.
1983? Yeah, 1983.
Wow.
So, it was one of those, it was a box office flop because I think it only earned, 16.5. So, it was a failure, but it's another one of those that has a cult following.
Yeah. Another movie I saw as a kid a bunch was The Last Starfighter.
Yeah.
Did you like this?
I don't remember it very well, but this is that guy whose name I don't know, who's in the other movie. He's good at video games.
Yeah.
And they come down and make him their head pilot.
This is one of those early attempts at an idea where somebody good at video games can be good at actual space combat.
Yeah. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
But 1984, that's like, if a movie came out in 1984, I saw it on HBO a bunch.
Yeah.
Because it was one of those that was in the regular rotation and everything. But I'm with you. I don't remember much now. Because I was 7 or 8, maybe 8 or 9 when I saw it on HBO and stuff. And then now I haven't seen it since. But I know Nick Castle directed.
Yeah. It doesn't have, like, Lance Guest is the kid in this.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really have any, like, super famous names. Although, yeah, it was Universal. I mean, this was a big release back in the day. It's just not one of those common ones that you see replayed over and over or like promoted on streaming services.
No, but I mean, it was also one of those. We never have HBO, but this was one of those that played over and over on Saturday and Sunday on channels like TBS or TNT or what have you, because that's where I always saw it over and over. I loved it, but I've forgotten.
Yeah, it's total fantasy, especially if you're a young kid.
You too can be Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, you get recruited like this, tween. I don't even know if he's a teenager, like gets kind of uprooted and like, hey, you need to save, the human race or whatever it is.
That's what you were getting in the early 80s. You were getting a lot of, well, we don't have the money to do a Star Wars, so let's do a smaller version of that kind of movie. And you get a lot of these, there's a lot of these science fiction movies that are obviously would have never been made if it wasn't for Star Wars.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. Let's capitalize on what's popular right now. But yeah, I remember enjoying it. Yeah. And if I watched it now, I'd probably be like,
it would be a wincer for sure. Because it's a fucking arcade game. This is pre-NES home console. He's good at a stand-up arcade video game.
Yeah. Then we have another movie with a terrible title, just called Life.
Oh, Jesus.
With Jake Gyllenhaal and a whole bunch of other people.
You seen this movie?
Yeah.
You seen this movie?
Yeah.
This movie, if it had been 10% better, that ending might have made the whole thing worth it.
I agree.
Even though they kind of cheat more than I would like them to on that ending, the way they edit it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I love the bleakness of that ending.
Oh, it's great.
It's just so boring. All the way up to then.
You think? I mean, the movie looks beautiful.
It looks gorgeous.
I don't like the effect on Calvin of the alien thing.
Yeah,
but the ship or the space station looks great. Mm-hmm. Like all the shots outside look great. But yeah, there are long stretches in between like gruesome deaths.
That scene where dude's got his hand in there and Calvin breaks it 18 ways from Sunday is hard to watch because the bone crunching sounds in that scene. We're going to end up accidentally recommending this to somebody just by talking about it so brilliantly.
I mean, I would watch it again.
I would watch Passengers twice before I watch this again.
It's not like being peed on.
Yeah. No. I saw this in theaters, and I haven't seen it since. So I'm like even blanking on what the surprise ending that you're talking about is.
I guess we should probably not spoil it. It's recent enough, but yeah.
But Rebecca Ferguson, Ryan Reynolds are also in this, and I do remember there's something about like worms or something in this, right? Is it worms? Is it snakes?
He starts out as the entity starts out as like this almost like baby Groot type of thing, and then it turns into this like octopus thing.
The Worms is a different movie.
Is that a different movie?
That's the one that's the Netflix Cloverfield.
Oh, that's
movie.
the Cloverfield.
Oh, yeah, Paradox. Yeah.
But I could see how you could get these two confused.
Yeah. Very much.
They're both trying to do the same basic thing.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. I didn't like it that much, but maybe it's just because I wanted to so much more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't have any expectations. This actually exceeded my expectations because you heard nothing. It came out in like, I don't know, April or something like that.
Yeah, it was like
it wasn't like prime real estate. And it came and went, and I didn't hear anything positive or negative about it. So I was like, maybe it's not very good.
I don't even know what dragged my ass to the theater to watch that either. I don't understand what happened there.
You have a crush on Ryan Reynolds.
I do have a crush on Ryan Reynolds.
Like all of us.
And sometimes Rebecca Ferguson.
That's right. Oh, it came out in March.
Yeah.
Lousy smart weather.
Yeah. In 1998, we got an adaptation of Lost in Space.
Oh, baby.
With William Hurt. And we had Lacey Chabert was in it. And
Heather Graham.
There was a lot of sexiness in this cast.
There was. Gary Oldman.
Yep. Gary Oldman playing Mr. Smith, Dr. Smith.
Yeah.
Matt LeBlanc.
Matt LeBlanc.
All right, man. I like this movie.
Okay, if you can separate this movie from Lost in Space, the show,
I
have to. Mm-hmm. I think it's a really enjoyable turd.
It's perfect. That's
okay,
perfect.
so this movie is completely out of my memory. I definitely watched it, but
Oh man, yeah.
Because you watched the show growing up, right?
Watched and loved the show.
I never saw the show.
And the show was about being fucking doomed. Like, they're on this planet. They're lost.
Yep.
It ain't about, like, time travel loops and getting home immediately. And this movie just completely lost the spirit of Lost in Space and decided to make, like, a Tim Burton acid trip of a sci-fi action film.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of succeeded.
I agree.
I just have to completely put blinders on to the old Lost in Space show. Now, I haven't gotten to the new one on Netflix, which I hear is much more in the spirit of the original show.
Yeah.
Much more sci-fi-y and less rootin' tootin' action.
Yeah, this is definitely rootin' tootin' action.
Because, like, Dr. Smith that Gary Oldman's playing, in the show, he's like a weak, sniveling weasel. And he's not like...
That's how he presents it first. Now, obviously, they're condensing all this into a movie.
Yeah.
But I feel like he is playing that at first. He's playing I'm just here, as a passenger, and I want to defer to you guys and all that.
Yeah, that's not Gary Oldman.
Well, obviously, by the end of the movie, it's not his character. He definitely turns evil.
They made the robot into Ed 209, basically, instead of like intelligent
robot in this.
It's Ed 209. It's like the big giant boom.
Oh, that's
boom,
right. Yeah.
Boom.
Well, they do that in the show too. The new show too.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. He's like this big monolith.
That's a shame, man. He was
Like
always
a Ray
like
Lewis
a science bot.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I love the movie as much as I am ragging on it.
Is because Heather Graham is their daughter, right? And Matt LeBlanc is just the pilot of this.
Co-pilot.
And so they end up with a relationship and all that stuff.
The flirty flirtations.
Yeah, this is fun. Stephen Hopkins. I don't know who that is.
he's done a bunch of stuff. I think.
He did Blown Away. One of the Blown Aways.
Yeah.
I don't know which one.
He's one of those. He's one of those names that comes up. That's just like, yeah, he's done some movies you heard of.
Do you think when this new McConaughey movie came out last year, Serenity, that you were talking about recently, do you think like Joss Whedon was like, "What the fuck, man?
He's besmirching my name.
Like my movie is only like 12 years old."
I don't understand that either. I would really like to know the title naming. I'd like to be in the room when they decide that.
There's so many different ways that you could name that movie, by the way,
yeah,
and make it more
and
interesting.
it's not like The Boat, which is what the Serenity's named, has anything to do with that movie, really.
No, that's just where they fuck.
Yeah, that's just where they fuck.
And that's also a double insult because it's basically Joss Whedon's Serenity is named that because that's the name of the ship.
Yeah. Double insult.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either. Like, that's too close to Serenity.
Exactly.
Mimi Rogers was the mom. That's right.
That's right.
All right.
Then we have a movie that nobody's seen 100 times, The Martian.
Every time, by the way.
Yeah.
I've come across this over the last month or so 4 times. No matter where it's at, I have to watch it.
Yeah, it's one of those movies.
I even watched it on FX the other day. Well, and it's like a 3.5 hour presentation with like an hour's worth of commercials in there, and I'm still watching that shit because it's just it's like a warm blanket to me now at this point. But I think I can objectively say it's just a super well crafted science fiction thriller, and I love it. So to pieces so much.
Still got the novel has a lot of the minutia, a lot of the science, a lot of Andy Weir has said on our podcast that he wanted it to be right. He wanted it to be rigorously looked over, and they keep some of that. They keep a lot of that in the movie. They don't. It doesn't get bogged down, but they don't dumb it down necessarily.
Yeah, there's a definite underestimation in Hollywood of solving a problem with your intelligence and thinking it out. The movies that do that tend to be really good, but then we always seem to get these sci-fi thrillers where they know the answer instantly, or they're like, well, this might work, and it miraculously works because it has to. In The Martian, you can hear him through his narration say, I don't know if this will work, but this is the theory of it, and we'll try this. And then he's like, okay, why didn't that work? And it's like, all right, well, I realize now that I wasn't thinking about this the right way, and that's awesome.
Yes. Yes.
I can't believe they can't make more of these, but I have a feeling that it's just too hard for some screenwriters to get an actual, especially a whole movie full, but just even a scene of somebody. I'm going to think this out.
Yeah.
I'm really going to just pour it over this. And the situation does allow for it. He's on Mars. He has no other reason to. He doesn't have anywhere else to be.
Yeah,
he has to be there.
Yeah.
He has to think this out. He's got a finite amount of time to think about it, but not like it's got to be done in seconds or anything. It's just that's thrilling. I don't know. I'm wondering how many people in Hollywood realized how thrilling that was.
Yeah, because it's a perfect combination between Andy Weir, the genius behind it, and then Drew Goddard, who directed a movie that we should talk about at some point soon. Got that, and like he was saying, like he was in communication with him if he had a question about stuff.
It's so funny. We'll talk about Bad Times at the El Royale later.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking about that movie when Chris was talking about sort of this showing him working through something. And The Martian does a great job of building in this conceit of these video journals that he's going to leave for posterity.
Yeah.
He assumes for a lot of it that he's going to die, but I'm going to at least document how and what I tried to do. But yeah, that must be a Goddard thing, because Bad Times at the El Royale is full of shit like that, where you just watch characters figure shit out and they're not always right. Oh man. Anyway, I can't wait to talk about that.
Oh, by the way, this is going to be like A Few Good Men has one of those like, holy shit, they were in that movies. Like it's the hub for the Kevin Bacon game. This movie is the same way.
The Martian?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
because like Sebastian Stan, Benedict Wong, like just Kate Mara, like Michael Pena, a lot of MCU characters, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going
Donald
to be
Glover.
like, it's going to be the nexus of
Mackenzie
a lot of
Davis.
these things.
Yeah, it's full of great people.
Then we have, and this is the section of movies I've seen but don't remember anymore. Like Mission to Mars.
Baby.
I know Jeremy is all about it.
I don't love it, but I know it. I've seen it probably 4 or 5 times. Talk about a cast. Now, who made this fucking movie?
Brian De Palma.
Yeah.
Brian De Palma. That may be what keeps me going back.
Me too.
It's because it has a little bit of that. There's a very 2001 inspired spaceship that has a rotating section that they use like a walking track. And there's a couple good shots on the early journey that remind me of 2001. De Palma. That makes perfect sense. Because we also had Red Planet the same year.
Yeah, I was about
There
to
was
say.
a lot of Mars movies.
I was about
around
to say, once we got done with this, I was going to go straight to Red Planet because we've been on Mars, so we might as well just keep going through that.
But this one is interesting. They're going up there. Basically, there was an expedition to Mars that they lost contact with. And Don Cheadle was part of that expedition. So now we've got Tim Robbins going up there with Tom Hanks' wife from...
Well, there's Connie Nielsen.
Oh, Connie Nielsen. Sorry. Well, I'm losing my shit. Jerry O'Connell, and they're all going up here. We're gotta find out what happens. And this is also famous in my mind for the scene where Tim Robbins floats away in space, and they have like only so much space rope, and his wife is going after him to try to get it, and she runs out of space rope, and she's gonna abandon it to go after him, which would kill them both.
Yeah.
So he takes off his helmet and his head explodes.
Yes. It is insane. It's horrifying. Because you see his eyes bulge out and everything.
It's awful.
Oh.
And ultimately, by the way, this is about aliens.
Yeah.
And there's a giant face on Mars. We just don't know about it. It gets a little goofy at the end.
It does. Probably starting from that scene with Tim Robbins. Like the movie goes on the downhill quick.
So that came out March 10th of 2000, and Red Planet came out November 10th of 2000.
Wow.
Red Planet, the Ice Cube one?
No, that's Ghost of Mars.
Ghost of Mars.
Ghost of Mars.
This
This
is
is Val Kilmer, Carrie-Anne Moss, Tom Sizemore, Benjamin Bratt, Simon Baker, Terrence Stamp.
I need to watch this again because I only saw it once, and
Same here.
I remember I was disappointed.
I didn't like either of these Mars movies.
I also remember a guy we worked with at the theater, this is going to be a very bad thing to say, said to us, hey, that girl from The Matrix, she gets naked in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
And we were like, well, I'm not afraid of that. And then we watched that movie, and
yeah,
I mean, she takes a shower in one scene, but she doesn't get naked in that movie. And I sound disappointed because I'm a terrible human being.
Well, hey.
I remember that. I do remember that. Because we're like, oh, really? She gets naked? And he's like, yeah, man, totally.
Because The Matrix was 1 year earlier.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, and watched it, and I was like, well, yeah, she's technically naked there, but not naked movie naked.
That was also the coworker who did a bunch of mushrooms, so maybe we shouldn't have taken anything.
Maybe, probably shouldn't have. But that one's about they're apparently to search for solutions to save a dying Earth.
Oh, there you go.
And then
why didn't they just drive Earth into another solar system?
That's what they should have done. But God, yeah, I don't remember anything about those movies at all.
Me neither.
Then we have Mom and Dad Save the World.
Yeah, man.
I never saw this.
Oh, it's adorable. It's John Lovitz, and is it Terry Garr? It is Terry Garr.
Nice.
Holy shit!
I do.
Wow.
Love me some Terry Garr.
They get transported to this outer space thing where they have to fight the evil alien warlords.
Oh,
and it's very much those slapstick kids, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids type of thing. That's preposterous, but 12-year-old me was like, oh, okay. That looks like fun. So yeah, it was all right.
Next one's a very good one. It's called Moon.
Oh yeah.
Sam Rockwell. He's on the moon. He's got a like a friendly computer voice from Kevin Spacey giving him advice and information and stuff. But he's got a very basic job essentially. He gets out on his rover and what does he do? He's like moving rocks or something.
They're mining something.
They're mining.
They found some kind of precious mineral or something. He's up there mining the moon.
And then they only need one person, right?
Yeah. And then one day he runs into a wrecked version of that with him inside it, and he wonders what the fuck is going on. And so should we go any farther than that?
I really don't know. It's not a new movie.
It isn't new, but it is. I will say that this is good. Very good movie. David Bowie's kid,
Duncan
Jones.
His Twitter handle is Man-Made Moon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's has he done anything besides Warcraft and this?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he did Source Code. That's right.
Yeah.
And Source Code was good.
Yeah, Source Code was good.
Yeah. So really, and you guys hated Warcraft, right? I haven't.
Yeah,
seen
but
it.
I don't think that movie failed because of him.
Right.
Like, I just think that movie was sort of destined to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really his fault.
Yeah.
But he's a super fan of the game, and so I can see why he wanted to do it.
Yeah.
He also did a movie called Mute. Remember that one?
Mute? Oh, that's yeah, you do. It's Paul Rudd looking weird on Netflix. That's
I never saw it. Did
but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, no, I never saw it. It got middling reviews, so I stayed away.
I do not know what you guys are talking about.
Wow.
It was a Netflix original film.
It's a sci-fi, like, noir looked like.
One of the characters can't speak or something like that.
I don't know.
I may go back and watch it.
But I would highly recommend Moon if you haven't seen that. It's like I said, we stopped it there where he found the wreckage and everything. You want to find out what happens after that.
I will say Sam Rockwell's really good in this movie, but Sam Rockwell is even better.
Oh, I'd say I would agree with that. A lot. That's going to be controversial, but I think that's right.
You should do a double feature and have Moon and Sunshine.
Yes. Yes. Then we have Moonraker. James Bond.
Moonraker.
Movie that was made almost directly because of Star Wars. James Bond movies almost always followed that pattern.
Yeah.
Whatever was popular at the time, let's try to make a James Bond theme movie out of it. And Moonraker's got a story that if I remember this correctly, is almost like Thunderball.
Yes, I was going to ask that. was Moonraker the remake of Thunderball?
No,
or was it the other way
Never
around?
Say Never Again was the remake of Thunderball.
Oh, okay.
And because the producer, one of the early producers of James Bond movies, was sued. I can't remember the company right now, Broccoli Pictures or something like that. Sued them over royalties or something like that. But the only thing that he got out of it was he was only able to make a remake of Thunderball. There was no other thing he could do but do that. So but in 1983, they made Never Say Never Again with Sean Connery as James Bond again.
Yeah.
And they came out with it the same year that Octopussy came out.
Oh.
And Roger Moore's already established as James Bond at this point, and Octopussy made more money.
Wow.
Ooh. Yeah. That's a weird thing. Like, you would think that because people put Sean Connery so high up in that.
Well, it was called Octopussy.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, come on.
I know.
If they had called the other one Never Say Octopussy Again, it probably would have tied at least.
That's true.
Football in the groin.
Yeah.
I mean, how did they get away with that shit? They couldn't do that today, could they?
I don't know.
Can you just take...
You're doing 2 Joker movies or 2... Batman.
Well, no, he's talking
I'm
about
talking about
pussy.
the word pussy in the title by claiming it's the name of someone or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you could do that today.
No.
Could you?
I don't think you could get away with it as far as
Mega penis.
I'd like for him to try.
Oh, it's not a problem. Mega penis is the name of the villain. It's okay. I don't think you could do that.
They had The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Shag and pussy are on whole other levels of wrong wordness.
Right.
Like, clearly, get on the same page with me here. Pussy is in the basement. Shag is up on the main level. You can say shag in front of your mom.
Although from what I understand, though, in the UK, shag is as bad as
that's
fuck.
what I'm saying.
But those, who cares about them? They think cunt is an okay word to say.
That's true. That's true.
They say that to, like, their friends.
You piss off, you cunt!
But it's weird, though, right? Because you can't say cunt so easily here in the U.S.
No.
That's like a
You shouldn't
almost...
say fuck. No, you shouldn't say fuck. Fuck.
Okay, so shag is actually bad to say in the UK?
I guess.
Yeah. It's like fuck. It's like you want to shag me.
Then the only reason the movie was able to do that was because it was an American-made movie making fun of British.
I agree
whatever.
that you cannot put pussy in
Yeah,
your title.
it's all the way around.
But as long as you put octo in front of it.
Well, that's one of the most clever gags of the Austin Powers things. It's like a lot of vagina.
Yeah. But I don't remember. This is about Moonraker, by the way. I don't remember. I think if I recall though, because I watched back in 2007, 2008.
Yeah,
I watched all the Bond movies all in a row.
I remember that.
And I remember Moonraker being like Thunderball because it was that same, had sort of the same kind of opening, only it was in space and not the water.
Yes.
But
by the way, the girl in this is Holly Goodhead.
Oh yeah,
See?
that's right.
Come on.
Well, and which one is it? It's a Sean Connery Bond where the girl's named Pussy Galore.
Pussy Galore. Oh shit, which one is it?
Is that Dr. No?
It may be Dr. No.
I like how I saw one of the gals in charge of the Bond franchise the other day talking about how they will ensure that Bond keeps up with the times and the whole, like, respecting women and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, you do that now.
Yeah.
After 40 years making money off the opposite.
Yeah. You know what I like about you English? Octopussy. I must have seen that movie twice. Then we have Muppets from Space, which I remember that. Did this come out when we were at Hollywood? Because I know that, and was it Muppet Treasure Island may have come out around? I don't know. Muppets from Space definitely did. I'm not sure if I've ever seen this, actually.
Well, it probably should not qualify as a space movie because, well, I guess Close Encounters didn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's basically Close Encounters with
Do the
Muppets.
aliens come here, or they go out in space at one point?
At one point, and I'm pretty sure it's like a vision.
Oh, is
he
it
gets
really?
like touched by a vision or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I'm not sure Close Encounters did count. Did we just do that in Wyoming, right?
Actually, we did.
Right.
Yeah, that's funny.
basically it's Close Encounters with Muppets.
Oh, yeah.
So they play on the joke that nobody knows what Gonzo is.
Yeah.
Kermit's a frog and Fozzie's a bear. Gonzo's a whatever. Has always been the Muppet gag. And so here he starts to wonder if he's an alien. He starts seeing messages in his Alphabets cereal. This movie's super fun.
Yeah.
It's goofy. The CIA gets involved. Jeffrey Tambor and a really stupid bear is his right-hand man. This is the first Muppet movie that included some of the new Muppets from the late 90s, early 2000 revival of the Muppet Show. So you get Pepe the Prawn.
Yep.
And you get the Frank Sinatra ripoff guy with his like gorilla henchman. You get cameos from a lot of these new Muppets in here. And yeah, they basically have to go rescue Gonzo and take him to the beach with pretty sure Dawson's Creek cast shows up at the end of that movie. Katie Holmes and Joshua Jackson, I'm pretty sure.
Are you serious? Oh yeah,
on the beach because they make like
yeah.
I love it. It's probably, if I'm going to watch a Muppets movie, it's going to be Christmas Carol, hands down. Then it's going to be Take Manhattan. Then it's going to be this one.
Oh, really?
In terms of raw enjoyability and laughs, absolutely.
Really? Yeah. I need to go back to this then because I don't remember it being to that level.
I don't know that it is. I just don't know that any of the other ones are to that level.
Muppet movie?
Maybe the first
original one?
Maybe the first one.
Yeah.
I feel like the first one meanders a lot more than people want to admit. Whereas,
yeah, but that's the fun meandering, though, right?
Yeah, sure. No, I get it.
Great Muppet Caper? You didn't like that one?
No, now see, I'm not down with that one.
That one probably has aged poorly.
Well, and I hate the British.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those cunts.
Those shagging cunts.
Yes.
Octo shags.
Yes. Then we have the TV adaptation, the movie of My Favorite Martian, came out in 1999. I didn't see this.
Me neither.
Oh, really?
No.
This is your boy Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, and it's got Elizabeth Hurley in it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not very.
Yeah.
I was trying to find a way to defend this movie.
Was it? Who was it? Was it Ray Walston who was in the original My Favorite Martian?
I believe so. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Ray Walston? Because then he's Mr. Hand in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But you saw this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was unremarkable. I always liked Christopher Lloyd in anything. By the way, the guy is ageless. He still looks the same now that he did 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I pretty much enjoy him and everything. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Back to the Future, Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah.
Even like Taxi.
He's often been under heavy piles of makeup too. That's the other part of that.
Especially in Star Trek 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, Star Trek 3, our video had one of my favorite outtakes of all time.
Yeah.
When you did the Hill Valley speech.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe that was you that did it.
I don't know.
But it was it used to be farmland as far as the eye could see, and it's him in Klingon makeup, like doing that exact same gesture.
Yeah, I mean, either one of us could have come up with that outtake. I have no idea who did, but those are fun. Then we have Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie. This is where they tackle This Island Earth.
Yeah,
give Uncle Scrotor a
hug. This is very funny. It's one of the few. TV to theater type thing. I mean, the format though really sort of allows them to be consistent. Whereas, a TV episode of any random show, I mean, a TV series is hard to make into one movie because there's so many stories and whatever. But Mystery Science Theater, its thing is to do one movie each time, and they were always long anyway. So. But this is really good. There are people out there who love This Island Earth, by the way.
The real movie.
That people really like they think it's a classic and everything. But yeah, there's some great ones in here. There's the part where they're on the ship, the main scientist guy is in the tube and there's the girl who's also in the tube and he's like, I feel like a toothbrush is what he says. And then one of them says, so rub me up and down on your teeth, like your teeth and gums or something like that. There's a lot of like just good stuff in there. There's a point where there's an aerial shot and they're like, oh, you can see the Cubs losing.
It's funny. I never really liked the skits on the satellite.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wanted purely just the stuff of them riffing on the movie. And the more I watch it, the more I get used to that stuff. I actually think you totally need that to break up like the just
yes,
joke
you do.
thing.
Yeah.
And I've started appreciating that a little more. And this movie has the perfect balance of that, I think.
Yeah, there's some sort of, they may not be the best things ever, these skits.
Yeah.
But there is something sort of psychological about it, getting out of the theater for a bit.
Yeah.
Let's break this up. Let's go to a commercial break, all that. And then yeah, oh yeah. But yeah, this one's really, really good. If I doubt if you've watched Mystery Science Theater, you haven't seen this, but if you somehow haven't, maybe this would be a good way to introduce you to Mystery Science Theater.
I think so.
But great one. We definitely recommend.
Man, it only made $1 million.
Yeah, it didn't do anything. I saw it at Fountain Square.
I think I might have too.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't make anything, but I remember Josh and I had to drive to Chicago. It was only playing in one theater in all of Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think it had like a super wide 2,000 screen release. Well, at least if it did, it was weeks later.
It was only at Fountain Square here.
I think it was a pretty
I must have seen
release.
it there.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I was trying to think, though, if there was maybe one other theater, but that was the only place I could go watch it, I think. And I would normally, that's out of my way. I wouldn't go to Fountain Square. But yeah, that's where I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have a movie that we've talked about a bunch. Passengers.
Ooh, I have spent 4 nights re-editing this movie.
How's it coming?
It's going well.
Yeah.
So far, I'm only rearranging scenes. At some point, I'm going to have to go through and figure out what I want to do with the audio. Because some of my cuts, obviously, you can tell the score changes from scene to scene. Right now, I'm just working with footage.
Mm-hmm.
My theory is basically if I move some of it around and I cut some of it, I can make this movie good. And I think I can. There's also a bonkers deleted scene where she is like half naked on the bed and she video calls him. And he thinks like, because she's acting drunk and flirty. She's like, hey, Jim. And he's like, hi. She's like, did you think if we were on Earth, I would have ever chosen you? Like, she basically rips his guts out.
Oh, shit. This is after she knows what's going on.
Yeah. And so she basically calls to tease him and then stomp on his throat.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
Fucking put that in the movie.
Needs
God
more.
damn it.
So I'm putting that scene back in.
Yeah, man.
But anyway, I am definitely going to, at some point in the near future, finish a cut.
We have talked about this before. Like, it should be re-edited. It should have a different feel to it. We should know that Chris Pratt, did this in order not to be lonely and everything. That he went in there and just hijacked her hibernation thing, basically sent her on a death sentence on this thing, all because he was lonely and because his, unfairly opened early. I wonder if it was written this way at one time, though, because think about this. When you put somebody like Chris Pratt, we want to like Chris Pratt. We don't want to hate that guy.
Yep. And
to put him in a situation where he's hateable instead of redeemed by the end, this is one of those things where you're like, yeah, I totally get why he did that. Yeah, I would have done the same thing. You don't know. Nobody knows what they really do, but I feel like if I was up on the space station, I would be like, I can't send somebody to death just because I'm lonely.
Yeah, exactly. And it, it does get justified because they need both of them to fix the plane, or fix the ship. But I wonder, and I can't wait to see this, and I don't know what you're going to do with it. But in the way that we've talked about re-editing, if you only find out towards the end what he's done via flashback, I'm getting chills just thinking about that. Because you've developed all this goodwill. If that reveal is held into the end, you've developed all this goodwill for both of these characters and rooting for them together. And if you find out at the very, very end, and I don't even know if we can do this via editing, post-editing, but that would absolutely blow your mind and give you chills.
Yeah. And I'm convinced of two things. I'm going to be proven wrong or right. We'll find out. But I think I can rearrange the reveal, and they do not deserve that happy ending. So even if I jokingly said, even if I just cut to an explosion from a Toonces the Driving Cat sketch at SNL, they are not going to have a happy ending in my edit.
Hey, let me ask you about the ending real quick. Why can't they take turns in the modified med bay isolation chamber? Like, okay, so they've got 90 years left, right? Mm-hmm. Or 89, I guess, or 88 or whatever by the end of the movie. So why couldn't one of them go in for 44 years and then come out, the other person lets them out, and then the other person goes in for 44 years?
You are correct from a technological standpoint.
Yes.
I'm just saying, what a miserable 44 years for each of them.
Well, fucking Pratt can't even last 1 year.
I'm going to say, that's one of the biggest problems with the movie is that he's on this ship with all this amazing shit.
Yeah.
And within a year, he's decided, I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah.
And then he can't do it. And he goes straight on to basically murder. I'm going to wake her up and doom her to death so that I don't have to be so lonely. But that should have taken 5 years, 6 years.
This was the discussion.
Simple thing.
This was the discussion that I was having after I watched this movie the first time. Was that they did justify it with this whole, like, they needed both of them to fix the ship and everything. It was see, if he didn't do that, then they would have sentenced all of them to do like that makes what he did right.
Yes.
You know, yes, there is a part of this where it's like, because of the circumstances of the ship and everything, thank God he did that, right? But it doesn't make what he did right.
It's I agree. Bruce Willis kills a little kid, and I'm okay with it. But I am not okay with it.
Exactly.
I understand why he did it, but that doesn't make it right.
Yes.
Yeah, and then that offer that she refuses of, you know, going back into cryosleep validates his decision because now she's choosing to be with him instead of, you know, living.
Instead of just being horrified and saying, okay, yeah, I will go back and cryosleep. Thanks.
Yeah, if he was taken out of the equation, I could totally live for 90 years or however long I have left on that ship because it's fucking awesome.
I want to see
it breeds chickens.
I want to see a retake where she goes, why the fuck would I trust you to leave me in that cryosleep? You already woke me up once, motherfucker.
Yeah. But, you know, furthermore, they also have her looking at her old, like, friends' tapes and everything, and where they're like, oh, yeah, you had to find Mr. Right and blah, blah, blah. And
I cut that out of my edit.
Yes.
I hope you find someone, she says. That's the movie saying, root for love, forget the evils.
Right.
That's the problem. The movie has so much goddamn potential. The score is outstanding.
Yep.
It looks slick as fuck. But yeah, I think it needs to be massaged. I'm going to Topher Grace.
Can't make Chris Pratt a bad guy, or else it ruins his career trajectory, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
And who knows? I'm talking out of my ass here, but I feel like if you cast somebody other than Chris Pratt in there and someone who's not concerned about having that kind of a shady image, then it might be a different movie.
You could cast
Sam Rockwell,
Pedro Pascal, because he's always double crossing.
That's true. He's always that guy.
This movie made $303 million
worldwide,
but it cost $110 to $150 million.
I'm sure about 60 of that was Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt.
That's probably true.
Wow.
Although, I mean, you got three good. I mean, if you're going to basically build a movie around a tiny cast, with Michael Sheen thrown in the mix, you did well.
Yep.
That movie's cast, except for the Chris Pratt being evil kind of thing.
Yeah.
They got good names, good actors.
Then we have Pitch Black and its various sequels.
Oh, the Riddick.
Chronicles of Riddick and Riddick.
I just rewatched this. I love Pitch Black.
Oh, the original Pitch Black is great.
Oh my God. It moves so kinetically. It's crazy because I like the stuff in the daylight ahead of time because it's revealed that Cole Hauser has that drug needle problem and all that stuff. It's got the dynamic between Rhoda Mitchell and Riddick and all that stuff. It's the crazy drunk antique dealer and all that stuff. It's such a good movie.
Yeah,
I love it.
These movies definitely have a fan base, right? The Riddick movies. I'm not among them.
You don't like even Pitch Black?
I like Pitch Black. Yeah, but I felt like the other ones were essentially a case of taking a fascinating character from what could have been a standalone movie and trying to build a universe, a backstory, history, I mean, I get why they made it, and I think even Jonathan's a big fan of these movies. I'm not trying to bag on them.
No. I don't like
just didn't enjoy them.
You are absolutely right. That's my exact opinion, is that Riddick is in Pitch Black enough, but he's not the star. I mean, he's technically the star, but the story is about Rhoda Mitchell's character.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's some cutaways to his character from his perspective, but it's an ensemble piece at best, with him as the standout. But that's what you want. You don't want him to be the feature of you don't want a Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
Right?
What do we think that's going to do? I have this sneaking suspicion that's going to make almost as much money as a normal Fast and Furious movie.
I think it will.
It probably will.
Because of The Rock and because it's got the property attached. Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah.
Yeah, at first when they announced it, I didn't think it was going to do well, but it's positioned very well. It's in that first week of August, and it doesn't have any competition.
Well, and the people who love the Fast and Furious movies are probably going to love the fact that they're basically adding superpowers into this universe, right? They like, the more ridiculous it gets, the more they like it, which is the more it drives me away. But I mean, I think it's going to make a shit ton of money.
I agree.
Yep.
But watch Pitch Black, for sure.
Pitch Black's good. Chronicles of Riddick, that would be an interesting double feature with Jupiter Ascending, right? They're both, they're both like insane.
Yeah.
Both of those movies are insane.
Is that the one with Judi
Dench?
And Carl Urban, or is that he in the other one?
No, he's in Chronicles of Riddick, I think. Do you like it?
What, Chronicles of Riddick?
Yeah.
No, it
it's
wasn't
so
very good.
Space operatic, like it's trying too hard, not only to feature Riddick and like his backstory, but like the whole movie is like crowded and bustling, and like it's just not good.
The only time I've seen it is when we send it, so I don't remember much about it at all at this point. But I just remember it just being, this is too much for this character.
It is.
You were talking about how Pitch Black is just enough of that character, and now we're making it where he's the main guy, and it's a big, huge, like more special effects, more money thrown at it, and everything. Who was it? Was it David Koepp or David Twohy? Twohy. Did he do Chronicles of Riddick too? Okay, yeah, interesting, because I think Twohy is one of those guys who's pretty good about. He's pretty good. So.
He is, and the effects, by the way. So Pitch Black was 2000. The effects hold up mostly. The creature effects are, it's helpful that it's at night, right? You can get away with a lot more. But even when it's pretty clearly visible, like when it bites off Cole Hauser's head, that's a good effect. I mean, literally watched it 2 weeks ago, and like I was like, wow, that looks good.
Yeah,
they're very angular. They're very, I love the economy of the effects. We were talking about Donnie Darko, same year, right? Where they're somehow able to get a very simple effect that holds up over time.
Yeah. All right, guys, it is time to talk about Mubi once again.
Woo!
Mubi. And some as always, interesting movies that are playing. I watched one called Mercurial.
Very nice.
Mercurial.
And it's obviously a French film from France. And from Virgil Vernier.
Yeah.
But you saw this too, Barrett. This movie is hard to grasp as far as like how much is real and how much is true. And there's even a section of this movie where the main character is like, this is not real, this is a dream, says it over and over. But it's really just sort of the slice of life thing. And I was reminded of Richard Linklater stuff like Slacker, Before Sunrise, Waking Life, those type of movies.
Very much Waking Life, not in style.
Yeah, not by style in any means, but the idea that people are just doing everyday stuff in their lives, and then they get into these conversations, and that's where the movie really shines. Is when they're having these awesome discussions, and there's a part in there where one of the main girls is talking to a guy who's a Muslim. And they have this big back and forth about, he thinks that she's like a whore when she goes out and dresses the way she does. And she quickly tells him, no, what do you mean?
I'm not half naked. If I were half naked, you'd see my boobs.
Right, that type of thing. And just stuff like that. And it's not like that's the movie. It's just one discussion isolated in the thing. And then it might focus on another character and their life and whatever. There is a main girl, but like it's mainly just like, let's go to this place and see what that person's talking about. There's a point where one of the side characters is getting their hair done.
Yeah.
And it's going about to go to a wedding,
or
about to be the bride at a wedding.
Even the entire beginning is about this, security guard in training.
That's fascinating. Like it's almost disappointing that they get away from the security guard thing.
Yeah,
it's fascinating. Yeah. And then you're like, okay, and then that's it. That's all they talk about.
Yeah, you know how all the kids these days say big mood. Like this is a mood.
Yeah, I'm already past it, but yeah,
this movie is a mood, right?
Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
It's more of a mood because I was thinking about it. I was like, what is the narrative plot? This girl wants to be a professional dancer, but has no training whatsoever, has no desire to get training.
Yeah,
she is beautiful, and she works as a receptionist, and she meets this other girl there, and they develop this relationship. And so the story is technically about their relationship, but like you said, it'll divert into something else, and it'll divert into like a flashback, some weird stuff.
It sounds like a very mercurial movie.
Yeah. It does. Yeah. The building that they work at is the Mercurial.
Yeah, Le Mercurial, and it's got it's weird. It's got 9/11 imagery or World Trade Center imagery.
Yeah.
In it. It's not, the movie isn't about that, but for some reason there's a lot of that 9/11 type stuff in it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure why.
There's a lot of stuff in here that I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
But it is a very beautifully shot movie. I think this is Virgil Vernier's first feature film. Mm-hmm. The actresses, I didn't know, they are absolutely gorgeous, and their performances are I can only assume are just very natural, because I don't know how much is scripted.
Yeah,
it seems very like off the cuff. Mm-hmm. And the chemistry between them is very, very good too. And this movie brings the sexy, man. Mm-hmm. Like there's almost an Eyes Wide Shut-ian type of
I thought that,
wandering through a sex club where they're literally going at it.
Yeah.
And they just kind of go through.
Barrett is currently going at it.
He did kind of do some motions.
Yeah.
There's this wonderfully natural scene where they're taking a bath together and they're just joking around and stuff like that. Ends with a great punchline, by the way.
Yeah.
And so, this is a definite recommend. It's not probably for everybody. It's not linear necessarily, but I dig that, man. Mm-hmm. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it on my list.
You know what is linear?
What is linear?
Orgy of the Dead.
Yeah.
Orgy of the Dead. I watched this movie for the first time when I was in high school, because Blockbuster Video did carry Orgy of the Dead.
Really?
That's excellent.
So me and my buddy John Miller, we used to go watch movies over at his place all the time. We got a bunch of people together and we watched Orgy of the Dead. And I was like, I was 17 or so when I saw it, and I was like, we were cracking up at this. This is an objectively awful movie. This is one of those Nicholas Winding Refn refurbishings.
Okay.
Right? It was written by Ed Wood. It was performed by one of the guys that was in Plan 9 from Outer Space. And it's titties and butts. And that's it.
If titties and butts were candy and nuts,
we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
Oh my God! It's this parade of this guy is the master of the night, and he goes into a graveyard, and with the help of his assistant, who looks like Proto Elvira, they raise these beautiful women from the dead so that they can perform and give this guy pleasure.
Yes.
And they're all naked except for like a little thong thing, and they all do very racist dances. They're like, this is the Indian, this is the black woman, this is the Egyptian. It's like the racist version of the Nutcracker.
Yeah.
Except it's an orgy of the dead.
Right.
It is delightful. Watch this. Get Mubi. But you're not going to find this really anywhere else. Get Mubi, invite a bunch of people over.
Oh, yeah.
Crack open a wine bottle or some beers, and enjoy the crap out of this because it's fun.
Put food coloring in your popcorn and make it gory.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
So how can people see these two movies that are both on my list now? Even though my wife may hate me for it.
They go to mubi.com/cinemasins.
All right.
mubi.com/cinemasins.
And they have to pay how much?
Well, this is the complicated part.
All right.
You don't pay anything.
What?
What?
Yes. You get 30 days, a full month for free. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it just to watch Orgy of the Dead.
Yeah.
And Mercurial.
There's literally no risk.
Yes. No, and there's some amazing stuff that we haven't gotten to. There's 30 movies on there right now, and during your 30-day free trial, you'll have access to 60 total movies.
Yeah, a new movie every day. Mubi.com/cinemasins. Free month.
That's it.
Awesome. Then we have Rocket Man. I don't think I saw this, but I do remember the trailer. I think that's where they announce Harlan Williams is going to space. He's an astronaut, and he goes this over dramatic, well, not over dramatic, but like over the top, like screaming thing that he does. Like he's like, ah! Just it's only Harlan Williams could do it.
Yeah.
I may have seen this. I just remember the trailer more than I remember the movie.
I definitely saw it. I definitely didn't like it. I like Harlan Williams.
I do too.
And do you think this movie's over here looking at the Elton John biopic going, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. It was 1997.
I already had this title.
Yeah.
Even though I think this movie prominently features the Elton John song Rocket Man.
It probably does.
I think it does, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it does.
Oh, yeah. This movie sucks. It's got William Sadler, Beau Bridges, the Discount Bridges.
Yeah.
And Shelley Duvall.
Okay.
Shelley Duvall.
But yeah, that's all I remember is the Harlan Williams going over the top on the thing. But then we have Solaris, both the 1972 and 2002 version. I've seen both. I haven't seen the 2002 one in a long time, but I saw the 1972 one about last year, I think, is when I saw that one. But this is really good. This is real good, heady sci-fi stuff. In the 72 version, I know that he is told that there's something going on at this planet, but he doesn't know exactly what it is. So he goes on this trip, and he gets on this ship where things are just a little bit off.
Mm-hmm.
And people aren't who they really are. They're almost like visions or whatever. They're not really the people that he's running into.
Yeah, I haven't seen the original version, but that's very much like the Soderbergh version.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you dream about these people. Have you seen this?
I've seen the Clooney version 3 or 4 times. I like it a lot.
I actually really like this movie. If you dream about them, then you basically wish them into existence. And I think the nearby planet is what's making that happen. Is that called Solaris, or is it the ship that's called Solaris?
I think it's the planet.
Okay. But yeah, the Clooney Soderbergh version I didn't see until much, much later, and I really, really dug it. It's got that Eyes Wide Shut type of camera movement, and like the Ocean's 11 like static camera. It's got your girl from the Truman Show in there.
Yeah. The girl from the bus.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Natasha McElhonney?
Yep.
And she says to
really
Clooney, "It's all a TV show."
Yeah.
Somebody shoves her in a car, drives her away.
He's like, "Go to Fiji. We're going to Fiji." But yeah, there's a scene in there where, I can't remember what happens. It's like his wife or something, and there's a point where he realizes it's not his wife, or the wife is dangerous in some way, and he ends up like putting her in a rocket, and and he has to shoot the rocket off. But it was never like real, like the.
Yeah, well, no,
or was it real?
She's real. The planet manifests your dreams into reality. Like one of them has a dream about his son, and the son comes to life, and he has a dream about his wife who committed suicide.
Right, so that's where he knows when there's something
a little off.
Yeah.
He shoots her off into space and like she's back in 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's one of the fucking creepiest moments in the whole movie. Because you're like, all right, well, he did the right thing.
Because that was the first time,
That was
right?
probably hard for him to do that, but that was the right thing. And then, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And the ending, by the way, is a whopper.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost reminiscent of Life, or I guess Life is reminiscent of that.
Yes.
But yeah, this is a good movie. The Soderbergh movie is a very, very good movie.
Yeah. I would recommend both of them actually, but and the original, I think it's a Russian film.
Yeah.
If you like heady sci-fi stuff, definitely check that out.
Good heady sci-fi.
Oh yeah.
Good heady.
Space Mutiny, which you've seen through Mystery Science Theater, apparently.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any.
Do you remember Space Mutiny? It's just one of those classic. For whatever reason, this episode was on every time I turned on Comedy Central and saw Mystery Science Theater. It's it's this very slick for the time, like in the 70s, like sci-fi. Like they're on a space station, and one group that thinks that they're doing the right thing is taking over for the other one. It's got the most wooden acting that you've ever seen. It's got some of the worst sci-fi set that you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have that combination, it's a perfect combination for Mystery Science Theater to really go at it, and it's hilarious.
I think there's another one that they did called Marooned that has Gene Hackman in it.
Yeah. Completely different.
Yeah. But it's in space, right? Marooned? Are they astronauts in that?
I can't remember. I'm sure they are.
But it's one of those like, oh my God, they got a movie with Gene Hackman.
Yeah. Every once in a while, there'll be like, recognizable people in these movies, and you're like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh yeah,
like Joe Don Baker and Mitchell.
God, yeah, Mitchell's the best. Oh my God, that's such a good one. Then we have Mel Brooks' Spaceballs.
Oh,
Spaceballs.
This is the Mel Brooks movie that I've seen the most, even more so than Blazing Saddles and all that stuff. And because of that, I love it even more than Blazing Saddles. So I have. It's one of those movies where I have every line of dialogue memorized.
Yeah. Being a huge fan of Airplane and everything like that, when this came out. And I believe it was 87.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I was 10 when this came out. I saw this in theaters, and
did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
And I loved it. I loved it so much, and I still do. But that scene where they actually get John Hurt to do his alien chest bursting scene, and the thing comes out and starts doing the WB frog. Hello, my baby. Hello. At 10 years old, I don't think I could have laughed harder. That's just fantastic. And of course, it's a big spoof of Star Wars, and it's just fun. It's just a funny, fun movie all the way throughout. Rick Moranis playing Dark Helmet.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't see you playing with your dolls again.
Yeah.
Don't we knock here?
The Schwartz. It's
the Schwartz is in you, Lone Star. It's in you.
Yeah. It's like that ring. I got it out of a Cracker Jack box.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
Yeah, I am your father's cousin's uncle's sister's former roommate. What does that make us? Absolutely nothing.
The best part of that is that Bill Pullman, after he says that, you see him kind of just doing the mental acrobatics. Like how that works.
Yeah. Spaceballs is a great amount of fun. Although I will say there's some datedness to it.
Yeah, well, obviously they for the time the effects were fantastic.
Yeah, but I mean, just in general, there's some goofy. I see what you're saying. It's just it's a little bit outdated, but it's fun. It's a really fun movie.
Man, Dick Van Patten is in this.
Yeah.
John Candy is one of my favorite John Candy performances. Joan Rivers plays Dot Matrix, the robot, the C-3PO robot.
Megamaid has gone from suck to blow.
And there's that guy. It's not Jeffrey Tambor. It is George Weiner.
Yeah,
plays Colonel Sanders.
Was it the first episode we fucked that up on? The first SinCast?
It was very, very close to the beginning.
Yeah, where we said that was Tambor, but it wasn't.
What's the problem, Colonel Sanders? Chicken?
I'm so left out. I think I saw this movie once.
Oh, really?
Oh, man.
It's a mark of shame.
Well, if it came out, so that was right in your childhood. And there's no way your parents would have allowed
No.
it.
And then by the time I got to college and everybody was quoting it, I just never got to it. I think I've caught most of it flipping channels. I'm aware of the Schwartz jokes and some of the suck to blow jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the shit. Like, you guys are talking like it's the way I feel about Princess Bride.
Well, I probably have seen it as many times as I've seen Princess Bride.
I got a lot of catching up to do.
I love it when Mel Brooks plays multiple characters. Because you see him as Yogurt. Mm-hmm. Obviously the Yoda character, and then you see him as President Scrooge, and he's got so many great lines, where they beam him off and then back on, but his head's turned around, and so he looks down and he's like, "Why didn't anybody tell me my ass was this big?"
And
he's just down to scratch it.
There's a woman that keeps coming up on the screen to tell him stuff and everything, and he says, "Do you think?" I think it's Snotty. He's like, "You think Snotty can beam me there or whatever?" And she goes, "Oh yes, Snotty beamed me twice last week. It was wonderful."
They have to beam him because if he walks, the ship is too big. If he walks, the movie will be over.
Well, and that's some really good meta jokes in there too, where or Dark Helmet and dude Colonel Sanders have to figure out what's going on. And they're like, "Well, I know. We'll just go ahead and pop in Spaceballs, the movie." And so they get the video cassette of Spaceballs and pop it in, forward through all the shit that we've seen so far and it gets right to that moment. And they're like, Rick Moranis is looking back, and like it's like one of those never-ending fucking things.
We're looking at now.
Yeah.
What happens then? What happened to then? Just now. It's
one of the best gags ever.
And when they're browsing through all the videos to get to Spaceballs, it's all Mel Brooks stuff, like History of the World Part 1, and like Blazing Saddles and all that stuff. Here it is.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Then we have Space Camp.
Oh,
this came out a year after Challenger, I believe, right?
It was
87.
87.
I think it came out in 87, and but I'm not sure if
it was 86. Yeah.
Oh, was it 86? Really?
June 6, 86.
Oh, so they came out with this 6 months after the Challenger thing. I don't remember anything about this movie.
I don't either, except there's famous people in it.
Yeah. There's Kelly Preston, Leah Thompson, Tom Skerritt, Kate Capshaw from Temple of Doom. And Joaquin Phoenix is in this as one of the kids.
Joaquin Phoenix, that must be the one I'm thinking of.
But yeah, at the time, Kelly Preston and Leah Thompson, Tate Donovan was in it.
I mean, when I was in the 80s, I would have gone to Space Camp. Come on.
I never got to go.
I didn't
because
either.
The Huntsville one is right down the street from us, and I had friends that went, and they came back saying how awesome it was. I did watch the movie. Matter of fact, I broke my leg in 1986 when I was 7 years old, and it was because the movie was out already on VHS. They somehow got a VCR, which was a big deal in 1986. They got a VCR and hooked it up to my TV, and they had Space Camp, so I got to watch Space Camp.
Nice,
and I love this.
Don't they actually end up in space?
Yeah, it's the camp that accidentally themselves into space, and they have to figure out how to get back and land the space shuttle. Because they have to, it's this great dynamic, and I'm sure it looks like shit now when you're doing it, but it's the space shuttle, and they have to figure out how to land it on land instead of land it in the water as it was originally intended. And they end up landing it in like the Southwest somewhere. Spoiler!
Yeah.
In the Grand Canyon?
No, it's like in the White Sands or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, this is kids go to a space camp and they accidentally get shot into space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this was supposed to come out in early 1986, and I'm assuming that they were going to play on the popularity of shooting a teacher into space and all of that to get box office dollars on it. But then, of course, that happened. Now, I don't know why 6 months was considered good enough time. I mean, it was the 80s. It wasn't as, it's not as like now where like.
Well, and the space program kept going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they didn't stop either. So there was probably another shuttle launch sometime later in the year, and maybe they thought they'd bank on that one.
No idea, but they came out with it in June, and apparently also, I just read this, the Challenger accident, the malfunction in the film involved a solid rocket booster.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that.
Because the rocket booster went off, and they had to light the other one to compensate, because otherwise the thing would have just blown up at the launch pad.
Yeah. So the movie obviously tanked, and because it's just too fresh in people's heads for something like that to come out, and it may never be. It may never be a good time to come out with that movie. Like you'd have to put it on the shelf for years, maybe. But by then you've lost your investment. But what a strange. I would love to hear that story about what they did when it came around time to release it and everything. A movie I know I haven't seen called Spaced Invaders. I remember it coming out, but you've seen it?
I have. This was on the rotation. It was somehow 1990. It was somehow like on the rotation. And it's a bunch of, it's not, when I think of Spaced Invaders now, like I think of Half Baked or something like that, like a bunch of stoners. But these are just morons. I think they're alien morons that somehow like invade Earth. Actually, they are aliens and they invade Earth, and it's not good. It had a few laughs. I would put it on at my grandparents' house, and that's it.
Interesting. All right.
End of story.
All right.
Then we have a movie that I know we've talked about recently, Sunshine.
Yeah.
Danny Boyle's Sunshine. Really, really, really good movie. We talked about this when we were doing a Danny Boyle rundown.
That's right.
Very, very fine and good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because we were that was for the Patreon.
Yeah, but Sunshine is a great, great movie.
Another Benedict Wong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a ton of people in Sunshine.
There really is.
Cillian
Murphy. Watch this again.
Cillian, not Cillian.
Yeah,
that's right.
Speaking of Cillian Murphy, Red Eye was on 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
You hadn't
Till
seen it before,
about the
right?
last 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's a decent movie.
But Brian Cox is in that movie.
Mm-hmm. He's in everything.
Like, Brian Cox.
Is he playing her dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He gets all action-y.
There's some years where you could probably find 7 or 8 Brian Cox movies.
Probably.
Because that's how he was. I mean, that guy's prolific, man. He'd be like Eric Roberts if he'd do more straight to video stuff.
Yeah.
Brian Cox would be like in that 400 or 500 range. That's how many movies he does.
What at the end the last 20 minutes or so is when Cillian Murphy's chasing after them, right? And he's basically like unkillable.
Well, yeah. Yeah. It's also, the trouble for me is that the whole point all along is to kill this Keith guy. I don't even fucking know if he's a preacher or a senator or so. He's got Secret Service or whatever. That's who they're trying to kill. And Cillian Murphy even says on the plane, "Hey, I just take the job, take the money, and do the work." Like, but by the end of it, like, he's hell-bent on killing her.
Personal.
The mission has failed, but he's going to kill her if it kills. And it just seems a little over the top at that point.
Yeah. I like it, though.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But yes, we like Sunshine as well. And I would highly recommend watching Sunshine. We've said this before in other places besides the Patreon thing we did too.
Yes.
Yeah, this is it's not all the way heady like Solaris science fiction, but it's smarter than your average.
I would say, yeah, Sunshine, and you talked about you joked about this earlier. Sunshine and Moon would be great. You put the Martian in there, you put obviously Interstellar in there, Gravity. Like, you could have a good marathon of this. Solaris, you could put all these in there. 2001, that'd be amazing. Amazing marathon.
Yeah.
Then we have Soldier, Paul W.S. Anderson movie we briefly mentioned when we talked about Event Horizon.
Yeah.
Is this a movie where he's got like 4 lines of dialogue?
Yes.
It's Kurt Russell, right?
Yes.
And he's like some kind of like space soldier, like Terminator guy, crashes on some other planet.
He gets exiled because they have a better breed of super soldier.
But then he ends up like Three Amigoing, helping the people he lands with defend themselves against right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't speak almost like the whole movie.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Correct.
I saw it. I remember thinking, hey, it's not that bad.
It's watchable.
Yeah.
It's definitely watchable. And I think it's because of him. I don't know if the dialogue was intentional or if he just wanted to shut up and get through it or whatever.
He was having a Bruce Willis moment. He wanted to convey as much as possible with looks.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine, though. It's not that bad.
Another Kurt Russell movie, Stargate. This came out in 94. See, Kurt Russell, James Spader, and it's a Roland Emmerich movie before Roland Emmerich got super Michael Bay.
Right before it, right?
Yeah, it's 2 years before he does Independence Day.
I love this movie.
Okay.
I haven't seen it in forever.
All right.
Did we send it?
Yeah,
I send it.
It's been sent.
I think it was you and me.
I don't know. I don't like that movie.
You didn't like it?
Got a huge following, though. Although I think the following is as much because of the show that came after and its various incarnations with MacGyver.
The Richard Dean Anderson one.
I think that's where most of the fans come from. But it's not terrible. I just didn't. I don't really. Yeah.
Oh, really? I liked the whole alien Egyptian mythos.
Why are they building the Stargate?
Because they got instructions from the site in Egypt, where one of the pyramids are. And they built this, and it
because the ancient Egyptians are actually aliens.
Yes. Yeah. And once you do that, it's like the contact, basically, where they turn it on, and then all of a sudden they're transported to this different planet, and where the real Egyptians, basically,
where the crying game guy.
Yeah, that's right.
Stephen Ray. Yeah,
Jay Davidson.
Davison.
Oh, that's right. He's the god. He's the alien god, whatever it is. And then James Spader gets killed. Right?
Sure.
He gets killed and then brought back to life.
Don't remember.
Yeah, man.
It's been forever. They give him like the water,
the life juice,
the magic goat.
It really has been forever since I've seen this. I mean, I didn't send it, and I think it was in 1994 when I last.
Yeah, I mean, the effects held up a little better than I expected. And I really, really like this movie.
Okay.
All right.
Then we have Paul Verhoeven's Starship Troopers.
Ooh, I just watched part of this the other day.
Yeah?
It gets better every fucking time I see it.
Yeah, I have to agree, man.
No?
I know Barrett hates it.
Fuck this movie. Although, I know I'm derailing, but after you said that Basic Instinct was playing all the time, I rewatched that shit.
Well, how can you not?
Oh, my God. That movie's such trash.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best trash.
You gotta take a shower after.
Oh, the sex in that movie is gross.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It's all like writhing.
It sure is.
Like,
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, Starship Troopers. Fuck that movie. I've watched it as satire. I've watched it on its own merit. I've watched it.
Have you watched it with your cock out?
I've watched it with my cock out,
of course. That was probably your first viewing.
Yeah, I saw this opening day when it came out, and I was very excited.
This is, without a doubt, the best acting performance ever from Denise Richards.
Yeah, could be.
You may be right.
and Casper Van Dien.
And what you all forget is that Amy Smart is in this movie for 30 seconds, and she's like a fellow soldier palling around with Denise Richards when they take the little ship up to the big ship.
Yeah.
And Denise Richards is showing off her piloting skills, and the guy's like, "You're crazy. Why are you so excited?" She's like, "Because I get to drive that big ship today." Amy Smart is on that scene.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's it. There's another name in there, Patrick Muldoon, who was like a big, like, 90s guy.
Oh, yeah. He was like Patrick Dempsey's, like, discount.
Yes, he is. Michael Ironside. You have Neil Patrick Harris,
Jake Busey.
Hank from Breaking Bad is in this.
Oh yeah, that's right. Dean Norris.
Does he have hair in this one?
No.
Nope. You know what? If you look at Dean Norris's IMDb, he plays basically cops and generals and stuff like that. Yeah. That's basically his thing. But I have a special place in my heart for this one.
I love when Michael Ironside comes in the tent when they're fucking. Yeah. He's like, "Hey, we gotta go to war. Get everything ready. We gotta go to battle. Who you got under those covers with you?" And she pops her head out, and he had already said we got 10 minutes, and he's like, "Make it 20." I'm like, "Do you have a battle or not? Like, I know you want to help Johnny Rico get his heart on.
Yes.
But you got a battle. These bugs are not gonna anyway.
Yeah.
Why do you guys like this movie? Why do you like them so much?
Why do you hate them so much?
Yeah. It's just, I think it's it's my kind of mindless fun, and with the satirical element to it, and just the hidden meaning of it, where we're supposed to believe these are the good guys the whole time, but it's kind of like Ender's Game, right? Yeah. Where, by the end of it, when Neil Patrick Harris goes up and listens to it and says, he's afraid, and everybody cheers. That's if you look at it under that angle, that's a horrible moment. Yeah. Because they're just defending themselves. They're not coming for us or anything like that. And when you look at the movie under that lens with this whole like hardcore military recruitment shit and everything like that, it becomes a different movie for me. It's not just an action movie with stupid bugs in it or whatever.
I feel like that is why I like it, is that whatever Jeremy I am that day, that movie can hit me there. If I just want stupid, mindless fun, I'm going to get it. If I want some actual satirical jabs at society with some bite that kind of happen in passing, I can get that. Like all the stuff about if you want to have a kid, you have to reach citizen level status, and one of the only ways you can do that whole shower scene is really about the class system and not about, we look at, there's titties and butts. Yeah. Everybody's naked and there's men and women in the shower together, but they're all explaining why they signed up for the military. And with the exception of Busey, who just wants to kill, it's all really sad. Yeah. I want to be able to do this for a living, but I can't do that if I'm not a citizen. And the fastest way to citizenship is to serve. I'm going to die for sure. Anyway. And then the whole, would you like to know more? All the
when you look at it under that lens, that movie becomes so much better than just what it looks like on the surface, for sure. And that's why every time I watch it, I just get more and more out of it. And a lot of it is just stupid, mindless action stuff in it. I don't want to turn anybody the wrong way, but when you look at the underlying meanings of all that stuff, what's going on?
I like how poor Jake Busey is like, a knife? What's that going to do when I'm fighting a bug? And the drill sergeant, just a Shawshank guy, is like, everybody freeze! Put your hand on that wall, soldier. And he makes him put his hand on the wall, and he throws a fucking knife into it. He says, the enemy cannot shoot you if it cannot use its hand. And I'm always watching that scene going, you're fighting bugs. They don't have hands. This demonstration means nothing. Find a better way to show. Recruit. Yeah, I know. Find a better way to make your point.
By the way, I realize that we went Sunshine out of order here on the alphabetical list, but the one before that is Suburban Commando, and I never saw this. Hulk Hogan.
This is a piece of trash.
Yeah,
it's exactly what you would expect from a Hulk Hogan is an alien that crash lands in Earth in the suburbs.
Okay.
By the way, I just happened on this on the list. Marooned is a 1969 movie, takes place in space where they're slowly suffocating. It has Gregory Peck, Richard Crenna, and Gene Hackman.
Wow.
Yeah. So I guess maybe it's not a good movie.
No, it's not. It's not. And I think they Mystery Science Theatered this thing.
Wow.
And there's a movie that came out recently, and I can't remember which one it is, but it has images of this movie in the background. Then we have Three Stooges in Orbit. Okay, so
yeah,
I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, the Stooges. It's not aliens. Yeah, it is aliens. Aliens come down. Martians come down. And try to invade Earth, and the Stooges have to somehow mount a resistance and end up in space. Weirdly, when we had the Maltons on our podcast last year, I knew that Leonard is a classic movie buff, and he loves the Stooges and stuff like that. And for some reason, the night before that interview, this was on, so I watched it, and it's adorable. It's great. I love Three Stooges too.
Yeah,
I grew up watching.
I watched it. Watched the show. I mean, I watched the shorts that used to come on all the time, but I never saw this.
Yeah, this is a fun one.
Then there's Thumb Wars. Is that the Steve Odekirk?
It's like a Star Wars spoof
with thumbs.
Yeah, with thumbs.
Yeah, it's Steve Odekirk.
Steve Odekirk, who did the first Ace Ventura, I believe.
Oh yeah,
and he also did that Enter the Fist.
Kung Pao.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, he had this series of thumb movies that came out. And this, I never saw this though. Did you saw this?
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. It's a bunch of thumbs. It's like Hardware Wars that I was talking about last week.
With thumbs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, with thumbs.
How many different ways can we do this?
I don't know. I remember this being funny. This was 1999 that it came out. I saw it on video years later on, but it was adorable. I think you could probably find it on YouTube right now.
Probably.
Yeah.
All right.
Then we have Get Ya Astamaz, Total Recall.
Oh, what a fucking good
Another
movie.
Paul Verhoeven movie.
And I guess both of them, I didn't put the remake on
The
here,
remake
but-
can suck my toe.
Yeah, I saw that remake, and yeah, it's not good.
It's like, let's cast a bunch of pretty people, make everything look really slick, and strip this movie of everything that it had going for it.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. And let's do a thing that's, what is it? They don't put the 3-boobed alien in this, but maybe they do, but they don't show anything. I can't remember what it was. There's an homage, I think,
To the 3-boobed alien?
yeah, but it's not like, let's show it.
Does the remake have the same like play on memory and stuff like that, and who he is and all that?
Yes, there's
Yeah,
one twist with the way they may not even be on Mars in the remake.
I don't think they are.
I think it's just like subterranean society and surface society. That may be there's one major change they made to story or setting, but
maybe that's
otherwise
all
it's the same basic. Is it real? Am I a spy? Am I not? The first one's so good.
It
There's
is.
just no reason to even ever.
I agree.
Or in a Johnny cab.
But
How did I get here?
This
The door
is,
opened. You got in.
this is based on Philip K. Dick, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. What a great, what a great concept, though, to have this service where, I can be anything I want to be and all that. And then what if something supposedly goes wrong with it or whatever,
Yeah.
and then you don't know what's real and what's fake and everything. And Total Recall is a fucking trip, man.
It is.
This movie is so fun. It's Schwarzenegger at his height of his popularity.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not doing Meathead
No,
Schwarzenegger.
no. But it's just fun through and through. Total Recall.
It's got a very unique look, even for a sci-fi, because it's like, I don't know, it's like not primary colors, but like a lot of pinkish and bluish hues and stuff like
It's
that.
bright. It's bright.
It pops. Yeah.
Michael Ironside's in this. Too.
Yeah.
Must have a good relationship with Verhoeven.
I would say so. Yeah.
Just a great story, good cast, great visuals, heady concept. Just really, really, I love it.
Well, and Sharon Stone is also in
That's
this,
right.
too.
Mhm.
Later
That's right.
would be in Basic Instinct.
Consider that a divorce.
Then we have Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, Luc Besson's movie with Dane DeHaan and Cara Delevingne.
Okay, yeah.
Cara Delevingne.
Yeah.
There's a good movie in this.
There
movie, by the way.
is somewhere.
Yeah. It ain't. It
No.
ain't what we see.
Hell no.
Because it's like 2.5 hours or something like that, and you can tell he's been working on this for a long. Just like he did The Fifth Element, he had been working on it for years and years and years. But The Fifth Element, he was able to, even with all that craziness, he was able to self-edit to where he focused on Corbin and Mila, right?
Mhm.
And this one, it's just all over the place. You can tell he just wants to get from set piece to set piece to show off how awesome his effects are. And he forgot that he hired 2 people that can act. Although Cara Delevingne is much better than Dane DeHaan in this movie.
Let's talk about Dane DeHaan for a second.
All right.
Yeah.
Or Dean DeHaan, as I like to call him.
Right.
I thought he was pretty good in Chronicle.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
I haven't seen
Well, no, like
him be good in anything else.
even like so Amazing Spider-Man 2, he's arguably not very good there. Obviously Valerian not very good. Did you see The Cure for Wellness?
I didn't like him.
Yeah,
Or that.
It's just something. There's something about certain actors, and it's not to try to be mean or anything.
Yeah.
It's just there's something about the way they come off, or it's just I don't know.
Look at the careers of him and Michael B. Jordan and that third kid everyone forgot
Yeah,
from Chronicle.
yeah,
Is that Michael B. Jordan in that movie?
yeah.
I totally forgot that.
Most people have, yeah. But the third kid, unfortunately,
it's like the 310ers probably are hottie.
he didn't get any kind of like, I don't know who the fuck that guy is. Maybe he's like acting regularly and I'm just being a dick.
Alex Russell is his name, and he was in Only the Brave.
Oh, wow. Though, honestly, in Only the Brave, there's like a handful of names in that crew, but you can't ever tell who they are. They're so soot-covered and dirty. And
I saw some of that, by the way.
Yeah, it's good, man.
Yeah,
I like it.
I didn't watch the whole thing.
They all look the same.
They do, because they have soot all over their face. Yep. Only the Brave ended racism.
It did. Then there's Wing Commander.
You remember this one, right?
I believe it said both Freddie Prinze Jr. and Matthew Lillard in it.
Yeah.
And I never saw it.
Oh, man.
I'll tell you what's notable about this movie is that they thought that people would go watch this to see the Phantom Menace trailer.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
So they attached Phantom Menace on this movie specifically so that people would come and watch. And apparently it did work for some segment of the population, but they didn't stay around to watch Wing Commander.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Paid to watch the trailer.
Yeah.
Well, you were at the Hollywood 27 at this point, right?
Yeah. Okay, I saw it once at Hollywood when it came out, and it was laughably bad. That's literally all I remember.
I saw it at Hollywood at the same time.
Who's the girl?
It's Saffron Burrows.
Yeah,
it's Saffron Burrows. Yeah.
Wow.
She was a thing for
Oh,
She was.
man, Saffron Burrows is pretty fucking hot.
Yep. Pretty fackin'.
She's a fine filly.
Yeah, she's fine, Billy.
This is based on a video game.
Based on a video game.
Those always turn out good.
Oh, and it was a huge fucking
it was.
PC video game.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this. This was, like there's certain games that you like as someone who you may not have been playing video games, you hear about all the time. Half-Life was one of those for me. Halo was one of those for me. But yeah, Wing Commander. I was never a big PC game guy, but that was a huge. I think it was a strategy-based video game. Like it was almost like, but it's one of those where you have to strategize your, like whether you're defending or whether I don't remember if that's what it was.
I never played it.
I never played it either, so I'm probably talking completely out of my ass.
Red, I do believe you're talking out of your ass.
Well, prove me wrong. Then we have A Wrinkle in Time.
Oh, so this movie I've heard so many bad things, I may never watch it.
Man, it is not good at all.
I definitely didn't see it, and I know the book's beloved, but I think it's just one of those things that's hard to film, and so...
It is. It is.
The
movie looks weird. It's got so much good talent.
Ava DuVernay?
Ava DuVernay is the director. Of course, Oprah and Reese Witherspoon. Chris Pine's in it. The little girl is she's perfectly good in the role.
Nobody who's in this really is awful.
Yes,
or anything. Or they're all good.
Yes.
It's that way over Disneyfied production design that hurts right off the bat. I read this book and this whole series back in I think it was third grade. It's not like I retained the knowledge of all those books or anything in my head. The only thing I remember being absolutely right dead on was when they go to that neighborhood where everybody's in sync and everything. I remember that in the book. But it just something felt off to me in general about the story they were telling in this. And I don't know how far away they strayed from the book. It's been forever since I've read it, but it felt like they strayed quite a bit from it. Even though it's got the same basic story, I suppose. But yeah, that production design and just something.
They made a choice to go very Alice in Wonderland-y.
It looks like the whole movie is those Saoirse Ronan parts of the I'm dead because he killed me. Lovely Bones.
I'm dead because he killed me.
Do you know all those scenes in that movie are like dreamlike and ethereal and spooky. This whole movie looks
Lindsay Lohan was in that movie, wasn't she?
Yes.
It's yes, it does have a little Lovely Bonesy-ish only in look. But yeah, but I think it literally is more Alice in Wonderland. It's almost like Tim Burton directed this. It's like over the top makeup, over the top set design, and I wanted to like this because I like all the people involved in it, but
it just feels like it's a kind of a pandering to the Disney set type of movie. It's hard to put a finger on why
that director has a new Netflix show about the Central Park 5.
Oh, I can't wait to see that. Is that out yet?
It's out and it's getting rave reviews. So now I have that and fucking Chernobyl stacked up. That's a good 8-9 hours of my life that I'm going to have to binge in the next couple of weeks.
Nothing wrong with that. God, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it's getting rave reviews.
Finally, we have Zathura, A Space Adventure. This was Jon Favreau's second movie he made, I believe.
After
he made Made.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then he did this, which has Kristen Stewart and
Josh Hutcherson.
Josh
Oh,
Hutcherson.
Yeah.
Paints with cake icing.
Yeah, yes, he does. But this was like kind of like a Jumanji type movie, wasn't it?
It was exactly Jumanji. It was written by the same guy that wrote Jumanji.
Oh, it was Chris Van Allsburg.
Yeah. And they were initially wanting to put this in the Jumanji universe because it's basically it's the same concept. It's playing the game and then they get transported into the game. Just this one is set in space.
Yeah.
This is a good movie. I like this movie a lot. It's Spy Kidsy in terms of look and feel and stuff like that. Like it's better than your average, tween teen centered adventure movie.
There's a third kid, right? Or is it just two of them? I thought there were 3 kids in there.
Jonah
Yeah,
Bobo,
there's another kid. Because Kristen Stewart is the older one.
Yeah, it's Jonah Bobo. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, and then there's 2 kids who are the siblings, but Kristen Stewart plays the babysitter, yeah, or maybe the older sister who is the babysitter or something like that. Did you guys? There's a chef Netflix show coming out, right?
It's it's Jon Favreau and the Roy Choi, the chef that trained him when he was making Chef.
Yes,
are doing a new food show where they're going to make food together and share recipes and whatnot. So it's not scripted, but dude, Netflix already has a dozen food shows I haven't gotten to yet.
I adore food shows. I will watch anything. I'm getting burned out on food shows.
I know it. There's too many.
I mean, you do a web series called Movie Recipes, and I'd watch that.
You know why?
What?
Because in a matter of years, Netflix will only be able to offer their own content, and they're making so much of it now, so that it will appear as though they didn't really lose anything.
Yeah,
I don't blame them, but that's the way it's going to go.
Yeah, because all the Disney properties are going to move off.
Friends is going to leave.
Marvel will be adopted into that, and then they'll get all the Fox properties off of there. What's left? Universal, I guess, right?
Well, the thing is, they can still make deals. There's still Hulu and Amazon Prime. There's still other places for competition. Again, I'm not judging them, but they're also doing this with stand-up comedy. I feel like Netflix releases a new stand-up comedy special every other day.
It's exhausting.
I can't keep up.
It's the fear of other missing out or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you decide I'm going to watch this Ali Wong, I'm ignoring tens of thousands of other properties that I could be watching that are just as good, if not better.
Yeah. They started this like 7 or 8 years ago, doing all this original content thing because of this fear that they would lose all these things. I'm going to make a prediction, though. I think that all these streaming services that are coming out, they're probably not going to be the rousing success that they hope they are, and Netflix is going to end up owning those streaming services.
Yeah, I think Disney is
so definitely, it'd be like Google, basically.
Almost, yeah.
Disney will compete. Disney's and Netflix's. I think Hulu could easily just get swallowed by Disney's service eventually, because Disney now completely controls Hulu anyway.
That's right, because they've got the 2/3.
So it's going to be left with Amazon, Netflix, Disney Plus, and all the rest of them. Yes, will probably eventually get eaten up by one of the 3 big. We'll be right back where we were before.
I can't see all of those just existing on their own. There's no way that's going to happen. On the secondary list, we have Capricorn 1, which I've heard reference to recently for some reason.
Oh yeah.
What was that about? Do we know?
Capricorn 1 is a conspiracy thriller. It's got Elliot Gould, James Brolin, and Sam Waterston.
It came out in 1977. Peter Hyams did it. This is the reason why. I heard of this. There was this was about the fake moon landing.
Oh, Mars landing hoax. Well, yeah, it takes place on Mars.
Yeah, it's on Mars, but it's essentially the moon thing. I was watching a video on YouTube where they were discussing how the moon hoax thing started. And they were talking about this one author who was talking about, like, came up with all these theories and everything. And of course, the story has changed many times over the years, but of how they would fake the moon landing and fool Russia and China and all these other countries that saw the fucking rocket go to the fucking moon. But the Capricorn 1 movie was a big contributor to all this because people realized, oh, they could possibly fake this, because it's that type of thing. So
yeah, it's got a good cast except for O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, well, back then he hadn't murdered anybody.
No, well, that we know of.
That we know of. You're right. Then the Europa report.
Good stuff.
Don't know anything about that.
In the early days of Netflix, I went looking for movies that might be fun, and this was one of them. Basically, it's a space mission to Europa, which I think is a moon of Saturn or Jupiter. It's an ice moon.
Oh, it's Jupiter, I think, because
it's Jupiter.
It's in 2010. The movie 2010.
Yeah,
it's
a real moon. And they go there, and they suspect there may be some sort of alien life under the ice. And then it kind of turns full horror movie at that point. But not so much that Jeremy was turned off. Who's in this? Somebody's in this, we know.
Michael Nyquist is in there. Daniel Wu.
That's Michael Nyquist is the dude from Treme and
Charlton Copley is in this.
Okay, yeah, that's who.
Yeah.
It's good. I watched it one time, but I remember thinking it was good and recommending it to a couple other people.
I know I'd heard of it.
Heady sci-fi, good stuff.
I was thinking of somebody else on that Michael Nyquist thing.
Europa is also one of the places that real scientists think if there is life out there, it could be there
because of all the ice flows.
Yeah, that was the big deal with 2010 was that they found some evidence of chlorophyll being in the movie, and the big message at the end is that you guys need to stay away from Europa, but we're gonna get you can have all these other worlds while you're at it. Europa is supposed to be a new Earth, essentially, in 2010.
Did you hear about that ice pocket they found under the surface of Mars?
So
big that if they brought it up to the surface and liquefied it, the entire planet would be an ocean.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
That's a fucking shit ton of ice.
Yeah. Forbidden Planet, which is one of those old 50s sci-fi movies. I don't think I've seen it, though.
Yeah, I've never seen that one.
It was forbidden in my household.
Yes, indeed. Then there's Hellraiser Bloodline. Did I see this? Was this one of those? This might have been one of those Alan Smithy movies. Because,
really?
Because it was.
Wow.
Kevin Yeager directed it, but he went ahead and Alan Smithied it.
Must be good.
And for those of you who don't know about the Alan Smithy thing, that's the basically where the director is disowning the project and they credit Alan Smithy. And of course they made a movie in the 90s, I think, called Burn Hollywood Burn.
Yeah.
Which was about, and I still don't know the whole story about this, but the guy who directed that, I think it was Arthur Hiller, directed Burn Hollywood Burn, ended up Alan Smithying the Alan Smithy movie. And I felt like that was nothing but a stunt the entire time, but apparently he really did have a hard time making that movie. And it was with Miramax at the time. But yeah, Hellraiser Bloodline, I'm sure Jonathan could tell us all about it, but
Pinhead in space.
I'm not sure if I ever saw it. I may have. It was around the time where I would have seen, like I didn't see any of the other Hellraisers, but I would have seen that one.
Yeah. I like the original Hellraiser. I don't know about this one, but
yeah. Then the Ice Pirates. That's like in the 80s, right?
Oh boy, that shit. Well, okay. All I can go on. I have childhood memories that somebody in my family thought this was hardcore and we should never watch it. Like R-rated. Like Star Wars, but with tits and swearing.
Right. And it's PG.
Is it PG?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is exactly how I grew up.
Robert Urich was the main guy in Ice Pirates. Robert Urich of, what was the show he was on?
Shit.
It says Vegas with the $sign is, but I know him from some other TV show that was in the 80s.
He was on the Love Boat.
Oh, Spencer for Hire, maybe?
Spencer for Hire.
Spencer for Hire.
Robert Urich.
This also had Angelica Houston and Ron Perlman and Bruce Valanche.
Oh, yeah, of course. But that's something I know I've run across, but I don't remember anything about it. Then there's Marooned, which I'm actually surprised to see it on this list here.
Yeah.
Then there is Mars Needs Moms. I think that was a terrible movie. It was a cartoon, wasn't it?
Recentish though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's got a 5.4 on the IMDb. I may have seen it, but don't remember it. Mr. Nobody.
Jared Leto.
Yeah. Okay. You've seen this?
Nope.
All right.
I just know he's in it. It was on Netflix
the poster.
for a long time.
Yeah. It was on there, and it was recommended.
It was actually recommended to me by a friend, not just Netflix. I just never got to see it. I think this was around the time that Suicide Squad was coming out, and I was just not and 30 Seconds to Foot a Grunt, his band.
Oh yeah.
I was a little over Jared Leto at the point.
Me too. I'm still over Jared Leto.
Maybe a little.
Outland. I've never seen this. Has Sean Connery in it.
It's a sequel to Inland.
Yeah, or Highland. Then there's the movie Screamers, which I'm not sure if I've seen it all the way through. I can tell you that I've seen a good part of it because this was the movie that I was watching with buddies when my From Dusk Till Dawn disaster happened.
Oh, yeah.
And I was watching it with, I think it was Jonathan and maybe Mike was in there. And I think there's like aliens that can look like others, like kids or something. I don't remember. I remember there being a Tremors feel to it, but I don't know if it's really Tremors. But
I mean, it's possible that I've accidentally seen this and forgotten it.
Yeah, but Screamers came out. I want to say it says here on the notes 95, but I thought it came out in 96 when Scream also came out because it was a Scream and a Screamers.
It's saying, so it debuted in Canada in 1995. It was January of 1996.
Yeah. Then we have The Space Between Us.
The Space Between.
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
Yes. What a waste of Gary Oldman. And Asa Butterfield. Is it Asa Butterfield?
Yes.
Yeah, everyone in this movie is wasted. I think even Tomorrowland Girl is in this movie.
Oh, yeah? Is she the person on Earth?
Britt Robertson.
Yeah.
Or is he on Earth and she's on Mars?
No, he's the first boy born on Mars.
I remember the trailer.
He's never been
this.
to Earth because of Mars' atmosphere being so different. When he comes to Earth, his health is very fragile.
Yeah.
But he's in love. This is a sick teenager romance movie disguised as a sci-fi film. This is 5 feet apart. The unbearable suffering of cancer, The Fault in Our... all of these movies rolled into one, and Gary Oldman just took a paycheck to come in and say some lines, and then who's his mom? Carla Gugino's his mom. Just a waste of talent. In fact, I remember tweeting that both The Space Between Us and The Mountain Between Us were complete wastes of their cast.
Yeah.
And neither one very enjoyed. Yeah, I do not recommend.
Stop putting space between people.
It's not,
or mountains.
It's the most convoluted setup to a sick kid romance movie you have ever seen.
Also, stop putting the chemicals between us, like Bush used to say.
Chemicals between.
Then we have Space Truckers, a Dennis Hopper movie. I've never seen this either.
No, but it should be like, if there's any justice in the world, it should be like an accidental prequel to Waterworld. Right?
It should be.
Like, it should be something. He should be playing like a character that could easily go on to be the guy in Waterworld.
A movie called Spark, animated film. I didn't see this.
Oh, this is crazy. Listen to this cast. It's an animated film, very much like the opposite of the Animal Crackers thing. Like, I don't know how this got greenlit because it was a total bomb, but it has Jessica Biel, Hilary Swank, Susan Sarandon, and Patrick Stewart as the lead vocal talent. And got greenlit and all that stuff. Open Road distributed it, and it bombed.
Spark a Space Tail, Tail.
It made less than $1 million. It made like $891,000.
Then we have Stranded. Did Vincent Gallo direct this, or is he just in it?
He's just in it.
It's a Mars movie as well. Stranded, huh?
Yeah, it's almost like they're marooned.
Oh, it could be marooned.
It's almost like he's a Martian.
It's almost like he's a Martian, yes. Never saw this either. And then finally, we topped this list out with The Wandering Earth, which I've seen 30 minutes of.
We made it 3 times as long as I did.
Did you turn it off, though?
I mainly just I had to. It wasn't because it was just exceedingly bad or anything, but I intend on finishing it. It's just that I'm having a hard time figuring out what the fuck's going on. Because they're rapid fire going through it, and I can only read subtitles so fast, guys. and so like, yeah, I get the sense that, a brother and a sister like not rob, but they steal like a truck of some sort, and they have to, and there's some money they can make because of it. I don't know. And then they get caught. And then
the Earth is being moved to outer space.
And meanwhile the Earth is being moved, and an engine has gone down.
You hate that.
Yeah, and it's super cold there now because they've moved it out of the sun's orbit.
Yeah,
of course. Well, that's what would happen.
It's like negative 80 something degrees Celsius.
It's almost like science.
It's almost like science, but
but it's fiction too.
Maybe it's both.
Yeah,
maybe both is happening at the same time. That's gonna do it for a road trip to space.
Yeah, 3 episodes.
The final frontier.
Yeah,
now we have nowhere to go.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, it's
gonna be exciting.
It will be exciting. Whatever we do, the next we know it'll be exciting.
Yes,
we don't know what it's going to be, but we know it's going to be exciting. That'll do it for this episode. Keep going to SinCast presented by Cinemasins on Facebook, SoundCloud, Discord. May have to give you an invite on that. The Cinemasins Twitter. You're on Music Video Sins Twitter.
That's right.
There's a ton of ways to come and talk about this very episode. But that'll do it for this week. It's Chris Atkins and Jeremy Scott and Barrett Sher. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
You should watch. Just skip through.
I'm definitely going to watch the shit now.
It's hilarious. There's a scene where, and I remembered this very well. In fact, my buddy and I, John, will quote this back and forth to each other for the last 20 years, where there's the corpse was obsessed with money when she was alive, and so she died for whatever reason, because of money. But she still has that money thing. So the guys with her have this big pot with like these really fake looking gold coins in it, and they start showering her with it, right? And so the main guy who's getting the pleasure from this, he's like, ha ha ha, more gold. And then they cut back and they sprinkle more on it, and then it cuts back to dude, and he's like, ha, more gold. And I had to watch it again. I was like, am I remembering that wrong? Because that was seared into my brain, because we were cracking he goes back and forth 4 times where he's like, more gold!
Oh my God.
And I went back and, thankfully she came in. She's like, what the hell is that? And I was like, titties.
Come here, son.
Yeah. Let you see some titties.
And butts.
Yes. And that the joke you're talking about it's like my grandmother said it was good for you or something like that.
She made me drink it.
She made me drink it, and then she goes, "You had an awful what was it? You had a shit grandmother or something.
You need to switch grandmothers.
Yeah, something like
She's
that.
the worst.
Go fuck yourselves.
Yep. I'd like to send a blanket message. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
We should be like the end of Jay and Silent Bob and show up to these.
Yeah.
Knock on their door.
Are you Magnolia fan?
This reboot looks like it's going pretty well. I'm kind of excited to see it. It's got good people in there.
Jay and Silent Bob review? Yeah, the first one was always my favorite of his movies. So
is that your favorite?
Yeah, because it makes me laugh the most.
Yeah.
It might be my favorite,
big,
too.
sloppy, goofy kiss.
It was my least favorite of his at the time, but I think it's probably my favorite, too. It's like gained steam and notoriety, which is funny because some of the jokes are dated.
Yeah, some of them are.
But yeah, I mean, I guess as far as funny, Chasing Amy is still probably my favorite movie of his.
Yeah, I went back and watched that again, and that does hold up really well.
Yeah.
I love it About Time when he runs into Margot Robbie, his old flame, and she's there with a friend, and he's like, he does something that suggests he thinks Margot Robbie is gay, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not gay. She's just she calls her my girlfriend. Oh, I didn't know you were gay. I'm not gay." And he's like, "Okay, hang on." He goes around the corner, goes back in time, comes back around this time. The same thing happens, and this time he goes, "You got to be careful saying girlfriend. Some people might think you're gay." And he puts his hands up in the air, and the girlfriend goes, "I am gay." And he's like, "Hang on one second." He goes back around the corner. He just keeps fucking it up over and over again.
I am excited about this chunk of space.
Okay.
We got some good
ones. I said to my college girlfriend.
Yes.
While pointing at, never mind. Just tell me who you want me to fuck. I had this tweet all loaded up because I swear to God, 3 years ago, Domino's big marketing push was, we have a brand new recipe, all new recipe. They even had that clip of somebody calling their pizza cardboard, right? The year after that, their big marketing push was, we have remodeled all of our stores. Come check it out.
Yeah.
Right now, their push is, take a picture of any piece of pizza you see in the wild, and we'll give you bonus points. Next year, it's going to be, just tell me who you want me to fuck.
Oh, you mispronounced hentai.
Oh, good. I even said in the file, I bet I mispronounced that. I don't know. I mean, I know it's porn related, but I don't know how to say that.
I knew it was porn related. I didn't know what it meant or what. It was just something that popped into my head, like as a weird thing. But I was like, I had to search it and be like, what is it? Is it just anime or is it like porn or what is it? It's porn anime. Basically.
Okay, awesome. Good to know.
You've seen that video, right? The Katy Perry one?
Yes. It's weird.
It is
but
weird.
Also, they all have ticks.
They all have what? Oh, yeah.
They're all dancing out in a field with grass that's up to their knees, and I'm like, I've been in that position. I got ticks. You now have ticks.
Okay, I'm not like Chris, but I could have sworn, and I was like, man, how old is she at this point? And I was like, well, and I had to reverse engineer, like, how old was I when Teenage Dream came out, and like what probably was she around in 2010? And I was like, I bet she's 35. I was right on the money.
God, that's old.
It is. Well, yeah, because Taylor she's 89, so she just turned 30 this year.
Yeah, in December, I think
she does turn 30.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know all these ingenues are getting older.
Well, that's how life works.
Yeah. You know, Billie Eilish will be 30 before.
Yep.
Walking with a walker.
It was a Louis C.K. thing where he was talking about how he's like, when I was first I think he said, when I was first becoming a comic or whatever, becoming big at a comic, Britney Spears was like 18, but she's my age now. I think I could be political too.
Yeah, I like his determined look. By the way, I bet I can be political too.
And by the end of the movie, he leads the resistance.
That's right,
La Resistance.
Shit, guard dogs, fucking shit.
Terrence and Phillip are supposed to be killed, and we think that sucks ass.
And stuff.